Election Day is just 4 days away, and the race for U.S. Senate is now taking center stage.
We turn things over to Brody Carter to break down the numbers ahead of Tuesday's election. Good morning.
Good morning to the both of you. After a 6-year term, Gary Peters up for re-election. Republican John James is back for more after a fight in 2018, of course, against Debbie Stabenow. Current polling averages available on 538.com give Peters an 82% chance to retain his seat. Individual polls in just the last 2 days show Peters leading anywhere from 4 to 9%. Now we're taking a live look here at the Fox 17 Realtime Map. This was in 2014. We understand the beginning of Gary Peters' 6-year term when he'd won by 14% against Terry Lynn Land. You can see that difference right here when we click on the totals, 409,000 vote difference. Now she's on the ballot once again this year. Just a fun little fact, running for governor of Wayne State University. But understanding that Michigan has roughly 10 million residents, you can see there's about a 20% voter turnout, 1.6 million voting for Gary Peters. Terry Lynn, 1.2 million. That's about to double when we jump to 2018. Also keeping an eye on these blue counties over here. We've got Roscommon County as well as Clare and these northern and western counties. When you click on 2018, toggle over there. Did you see what happened? John James entering the picture. This turns Republican. Same thing up here in the UP. We lost 2 counties from the Democrats to the Republican side of things, so you can understand on what's happening here in the 2018 race. Something also important to note is this blue wave of counties that we have seen, and once again, that transition into the Republican swing of things. This is to be expected even higher in this presidential election, so we'll keep an eye out for that because the difference, obviously, when the total is 275,000, 2.2 million voting for Debbie Stabenow. John James, 1.9. He retained even more votes than Gary Peters did in the 2014 election and still lost to Debbie Stabenow. That's just a closer look onto how many individuals were voting in the 2014 election in comparison to 2018. We do learn, though, by looking at this map, that John James has the ability, a possibility to keep this forward momentum if he wants to win the open seat of the U.S. Senator. Now we're going to toggle over here to the U.S. Senate balance of power. We're going to take a look at some of those numbers where Republicans currently hold a 53 to 47 edge. Now, they've held a majority since 2015. This time around, though, Republicans are defending 23 of these seats. You can see the majority right here. 23 seats are up for re-election, 12 seats up for re-election when we're looking at the Democratic swing of things. Senators here actually hoping for the majority win. They need to pick up 4 seats. That's all the Democrats need to tilt the power into their swing of things. Obviously, they're going to have to hold on to their current remaining seats while gaining an additional 4, and these 2 independent seats obviously swinging into the Democratic seat of things. This is going to be very interesting as time will tell on November 4th. Stay with Fox 17 as we have a wealth of information. Obviously, Mike and Deanna, back to you.
All right, Brody, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Well, the Michigan Court of Appeals has denied the appeal of Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, who is pushing for a ban on guns at the polls.
The court says the directive isn't necessary because voter intimidation is already illegal. Now, the decision comes 2 days after a court of claims judge said Benson didn't have the authority to enact the ban in the first place, adding that she didn't go through the formal rulemaking process required by law. The state attorney general's office issued a statement yesterday saying they plan to appeal the decision to the Michigan Supreme Court. And Michigan is tightening restrictions on gatherings after linking more than 30 known outbreaks to things like family events, weddings, and funerals.
The state now says in order to help with COVID contact tracing starting Monday, bars and restaurants will need to start collecting names and phone numbers of patrons. Customers who do not want to give that information can be refused service. But some, like the Michigan Licensed Beverage Association, say it's just another way to single out the industry with no real proof that they're a problem at a time when their capacity is already at 50%.
I think when you're going to sit down at a restaurant, you just don't expect someone to take your name and number because you're coming to have a drink first. What's this data gathering? If the data is not truthful or what it is, how do we know how good it is?
It is still unclear how long businesses have to keep that information. Those not following the rules do face the $1,000 fine. As for those outbreaks, state officials say nearly 20 others have been linked to churches which are exempt from enforcement of the order. Those changes coming as the state announced more than 3,600 new cases of COVID-19 in the past 24 hours. That brings our total case number up to more than 171,000.
41 additional COVID-related deaths were also reported, bringing the state's death toll to nearly 7,300. However, more than half of those came from a vital records review. Well, I don't think we need to remind you that winter is coming.
You don't need to do that. But some West Michigan road commissions are already working on better ways to respond to snow and ice. Rob Westerby takes a look.
Imagine having a way to learn where weather is making road conditions hazardous so plows and salt trucks can be sent there right away. Well, 3 West Michigan counties are working on that with a new network of sensors.
They monitor the road temperature, air temp, dew point, and humidity. When the temperature's, below freezing and dew point and air temp converge, a lot of times that tells us it's snowing. We're placing them on concrete versus asphalt in some locations. A lot of times concrete freezes up before asphalt. We're putting them in shaded areas. So obviously if it's shaded in the winter, that's gonna have a tendency of icing up before a location that's perfectly out in the sun.
Mounted on poles about 12 feet above the pavement on freeways and local streets, the system sends data through cell connections to the road commissions of Ottawa, Kent, and Muskegon counties, who then share the data among them.
With Ottawa County, we're in a unique situation with Lake Michigan being right on our western border. And that causes a lot of temperature fluctuations, throughout the county. So we have 22 of these sensors strategically placed throughout the county in different, locations.
It's that variety of driving conditions in West Michigan all at the same time that these local sensors are designed to track.
You might have a day where one part of the county might have some lake effect snow going through and looks like the road temperatures are getting colder. And instead of trying to drive out to these locations and check on them, you can, look at these sensors to kind of have an idea what's going on.
There's a system already being used called RWIS, but this system of sensors is far less expensive. Right now, it's a 3-year pilot program, but if it works, it could save money in the struggle to keep roads clear and salted during the winter. I'm Rob Westerby, Fox 17 Traffic.
And remember, you can get more news and weather from Fox 17 by downloading our app on your streaming device like Fire TV and Roku.
It is 9 minutes after 6 and still ahead.
Good morning. Well, if you guys are a fan of pretty amazing pumpkin carving like this, you can see all of this and the carving of a 1,300-pound pumpkin today at Rosa Park Circle. It's all part of a really awesome event. We'll tell you how you can join in on the fun coming up.
Plus, we have some sunshine today and tomorrow, but then snow on the way. We're going to break down exactly when we'll see it, how much we're talking about, all the details coming up in my full 7-day forecast.
At least 3 people are dead and many others injured after Hurricane Zeta hit New Orleans and the Gulf Coast this week.
The storm brought high winds and heavy rain to areas already reeling from multiple hurricanes this season. After 6 near misses, New Orleans got slammed by a direct hit from Zeta, which had strengthened to a Category 2 storm before making landfall Wednesday afternoon. It moved quickly through Louisiana and into Mississippi and Alabama, bringing strong winds and massive rainfall and causing widespread damage. At least 2 million people in 4 different states were without power at the height of the storm.
Obviously, we're concerned about any power outages that might not be easily and quickly rectified and the impact that could have on the election next week.
We have been damaged. We have been hit. So we're assessing the damage as best we can. We will not stop.
Getting the lights back on will be a big priority in the coming days as businesses work to get back on their feet and Election Day gets closer. Hundreds remain evacuated as those recovery efforts continue.
Clemson head football coach
Dabo
Sweeney, thank you, Avery. You could tell, says star quarterback Trevor Lawrence has tested positive for COVID-19. In a statement released yesterday, he said the third-year QB is experiencing mild symptoms but is doing well. Lawrence will not be available for this weekend's game against Boston College, and his status for the showdown with Notre Dame next weekend now in doubt.
Wow. That's huge.
Is it?
He's probably the best quarterback in the country.
Okay.
Yeah, they've won a national title. They were in the title game last year. He's a good player.
All right.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they look like without him.
Okay. Well, Halloween will be a little spookier than usual this year.
Yeah, the Halloween sky will be lit by blue moon, the second full moon this month. This will be the first blue moon in the U.S. since March of 2018. Despite its name, the blue moon is not necessarily blue. The phrase once in a blue moon usually means a rare occurrence that can either be lucky or unlucky.
Good morning. It's actually called a blue moon because it's the second full moon in the month. So it's our second full moon in the month of October. So pretty cool. There's a lot happening this weekend between the full moon, the time changing, and our first snowfall. What a joy. Our last one is probably our least favorite. We'll get more on that in a moment. But today we are planning on dry conditions and a different S word, some sunshine for you, a better one for you. As we have partly cloudy conditions this morning, temperatures in the lower to upper 30s. And we'll still stay on the cooler side today with our winds a bit breezy, mostly out of the north and northwest. And that trend will continue heading into the afternoon and evening. So here's a look at satellite and radar. You can see a bit of cloud cover out there, and we're really going to remain dry. Take notice off to our east, that low pressure, that system of what was and still is the remnants of what was Hurricane Zeta, keeps moving off to our northeast. And now high pressure will build in and try to break away some cloud cover, giving us more and more of that sunshine as we go throughout the afternoon hours. So here's a look at your Friday. Not too bad. 38 degrees at noon, 43 at 4. You just need that little bit of a heavier jacket as you step out the door today. But partly sunny, partly cloudy conditions until that sun does set at 6:36. And by Monday, that sunset will be in our 5 o'clock hour. That's so great. But overnight tonight, temperatures really dip back into the upper 20s with partly cloudy, mostly clear conditions. And then that will set us up for a beautiful Halloween, especially compared to our last couple Halloweens. This is outstanding. Mostly sunny conditions, definitely breezy, but temperatures in the lower 50s for the entire day. And when we're trick-or-treating, we'll hover right around the 50-degree mark and the upper 40s. So not that bad for the trick-or-treaters out there. It won't last for long, though. Come Sunday, big changes in store for us, including the wind. So we will be windy and definitely breezy on Saturday. As we can see wind gusts, I would say anywhere about 20 to maybe even 30 miles per hour. But then once we get into Sunday, our winds will really crank on, especially along the lakeshore. We may even see a wind advisory get posted for our lakeshore communities. As you can see in this model, wind gusts get upwards of 40 miles per hour, maybe even 50 miles per hour if we can make it there. So it's going to be a raw, windy day. Here's Saturday, though. These clear conditions, mostly sunny skies, a beautiful day. You can tell these white lines here, our pressure gradients are getting closer together, indicating that high winds. But then this cold front comes through. We'll start off with rain early Sunday, and then our temperatures start to drop. So this will transition into a wintry mix and snow showers by the time we get into late Sunday morning and then throughout the rest of the day on Sunday. We're talking maybe a dusting or a coating on our grassy surfaces. With that changeover from rain to snow, we could have some slippery spots out on the roadways. So just something to be cautious of. I suggest hunkering down, watch a movie all day. It's going to be a good day for it. It won't last for long, though. Climate Prediction Center puts us in above average temperatures for the next 8 to 14 days. So there's a big difference here. Look at the next 3 days. 52 tomorrow, gorgeous, and then 37 on Sunday. That's our weak spot for the next 7. But again, it doesn't last for long. We start to rebound already on Monday, keep things breezy through Tuesday, but look at Wednesday and Thursday. We're back above average 61 and 64 degrees. You're going to forget about that snow in no time.
Well, if you're looking to get out of the house for a little Halloween fun there, what are you laughing at?
I was talking to Candace. Forgetting about the snow.
Yeah, we're just I'm just moving past that.
Yeah, trying to get past it.
And we're going to talk about this great event happening in downtown Grand Rapids.
That's right. Sarah Grimmer joining us live from Rosa Park Circle to tell us all about it. Good morning.
Good morning, you guys. This is a great event. It's also a great setup. We're in a warehouse right now with open air, and these are the pumpkins, some of them that you can see today. There's going to be games, free prizes, all cool stuff like that. So to tell us more, we actually have Randy Finch, who is known as the ice guru, but today, Randy, you're kind of the pumpkin guru.
I am. So, when in Rome, we do this every year. We do a giant pumpkin every year. This year, the pumpkin we're doing is 3 times the size of what we've done in the years past.
Wow.
So it's been great. Had lots of fun with it. And we have some other activities that go along with it.
Yeah, so you are doing live pumpkin carving, I know. And I mean, if we see some examples that you've laid out for us this morning, you're pretty good at this. You're pretty
thanks.
great at this.
Thank you very much. These aren't finished yet. We'll be finishing these on site. So there's a little bit of detail yet that we're going to be placing around the eyes and stuff. But with these, we love to kind of keep that cross between the natural look and the finished product. So it's a blend, you know.
It kind of adds like a spooky factor, I feel like, almost, you know?
Spooky or creepy.
Yeah.
Depending on which way you look at it.
So you're doing the live pumpkin carving, and I know at noon, that's when we're going to see you doing that massive pumpkin that's like 1,300 pounds?
Absolutely. 1,300 pounds. Before we started, we're going to be cutting it into a lot of pieces. Today we'll show you a lot of the pieces, and then we're going to assemble it and create this nice scene on the inside, but it's airbrushed on the outside. Every bit of this pumpkin is detailed, and it is amazing. We are so thrilled.
I'm so excited to see more of this. So this is going on at Rosa Parks Circle, but you're also going to have games. Right here we have a game that's just been sanitized for us.
Yes.
Yeah. What's this?
So we have tic-tac-toe with pumpkins. So we have different color pumpkins to play the tic-tac-toe with, different shapes. We're going to have 2 stations set up with sanitizers that you can come down and play tic-tac-toe. Obviously get your pictures taken with the tic-tac-toe as well. And a photo contest, we're giving away $100. So you can take a picture in the chair playing tic-tac wherever you want. You just scan the QR code we have down there, take your picture, enter it into the contest to win. We're also going to have a costume contest for kids after 5 o'clock. So activities all day long.
That's amazing, you guys. I heard too, Randy, there's going to be food trucks as well.
There is. There's, I think, 2 different food trucks that are going to be down there. So everybody loves a food truck. Come on down, get some lunch. You know, we're going to be down there from noon until 6. Anytime you want, there's going to be activities, food, all kinds of great stuff.
Perfect. Randy, thank you so much for having us this morning,
We
guys.
love it.
In the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to see that massive pumpkin. But Deanna, Avery, how nice is this setup? I feel like the pumpkin queen out here. This is beautiful.
Yeah, it's like a great photo op.
I know. Very nice.
Rabbit ears.
There you go, Randy. Good to see
Thanks,
Randy as
Sarah.
well. Yeah.
Thank you, Randy.
Yeah.
It is 6:21.
A family is fighting something that's known as the renter death penalty. A look at one family's struggles so you don't waste your money.
A family is fighting something that's known as the renter death penalty. It happens when someone who rents dies unexpectedly, but still has months left on their lease.
Consumer reporter John Matteray shows us one family struggled to get out of this so you don't waste your money.
If someone you love who lives in an apartment dies, you'd assume the landlord would just tear up the lease. But many families find that's often not the case. Carrie Davis is mourning the loss of her beloved mother, and at the same time battling her mom's apartment complex.
This is my mom's bedroom.
Despite her mom's death, she says the complex still wants 6 months' rent. What did they tell you?
They said we needed to sign a buyout agreement in order to get out of that 1-year lease.
She can't believe the family has to keep paying for an empty apartment.
So the grandkids aren't going to get the gifts this Christmas because we have to pay an apartment complex.
While this might seem unfair, even heartless, if it was your family member who passed away, in most states the law protects the landlord, not the family, when this happens.
The law is pretty clear on this right now, that if someone does pass away, the decedent's estate is still responsible for the full term of the lease.
Attorney Pavan Parikh says this is often called the renter death penalty. A handful of states like Pennsylvania and Colorado are now outlawing it. But even there, landlords sometimes still ask for the full rent.
It is a scenario that the law needs to do a better job of contemplating.
Carrie would like to see tougher laws to protect the survivors of those who pass away.
Protect our residents and even our COVID victims from incurring thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in debt just for dying.
Now, taking this to court could cost a lot more than the rent, so try negotiating with the landlord so you don't waste your money. I'm John Matteray, Fox 17 News.
I never really thought about that.
I
Holy
know,
cow.
right? Yeah.
It is 6:26.
With just 4 days until the election, the spotlight is shining bright on Michigan once again. How both state and national campaigns continue to rally voters ahead of Tuesday.
Casting your ballot November 3rd goes further than just the White House. A closer look at what Prop 1 and 2 include before you head to the polls.
I just been over here doing my job.
Yeah?
Maybe that's what's...
Yeah, that's different. That's what's different.
I'm just kidding, Davis.
Look at his face. You're not funny.
Oh, stop.
Oh, he quit. Yeah,
The most stressful thing I have is working here. Good morning, Mike Avery. Look at my face. Boy, this'll throw you off.
We just walked through the gates of hell.
My domain.
My God, it's Mike Davis! It's water on the right table!
What's in the box? How about that trailer?
So that's, yeah, a little twist of if the news, our show, you know, was like a spooky horror film. Of course, Davis would be like the center of it, you know?
You're like the Michael Myers.
Yeah.
You know, you're the Jason Voorhees.
Really?
The Freddy Krueger.
Really?
How does that make you feel?
Weird.
We'll leave it at that. There you go.
Yeah, in a word.
Yep,
That's when we had good times.
Yeah. I know.
You
Isn't
look
it?
like you're having a
It
good time.
is crazy to look at some of that stuff and be like, oh my God.
And that, Davis, you mentioned that the one piece of video where she broke your rib that one time.
Yeah, it's. I've still got scars.
Oh my gosh. First of all, that was like 5 years ago. Second of all, I did not break your rib, Davis.
Yeah, it's still.
Anyway, hi, Candace.
Hi, Candace.
Wait a minute, I got more.
No.
Oh, we don't want to hear about Davis's broken rib? Come on. Oh my, I was getting into that trailer though. That was pretty good. Taking a look at our weather headlines, they can be a bit spooky, but I think we're going to have more treats than tricks on Halloween as we are going to be sunny and mild tomorrow. Today we'll see some sunshine as well. We're just going to stay a little bit on the cooler side. But don't forget, clocks, they fall back this weekend, so we're going to gain an hour of sleep Saturday overnight into Sunday, but I know it throws everybody's body clocks off, so we'll feel a bit sleepy for the weekend and next week, and definitely Sunday, want to hunker down, have a movie marathon. It's going to be windy, rain transitioning to snow showers as well, so definitely a rough day on Sunday, but the good news is we won't hold on to that snowy forecast for very long. Temperatures this morning a little bit on the chillier side. We are in the lower to upper 30s, so you want to make sure you have that heavier jacket as you step out the door, as our winds are mostly out of the north and northwest and can be a bit breezy today, but you'll really notice the winds kick on for tomorrow and especially on Sunday. Partly cloudy conditions on satellite and radar. The remnants from what was Hurricane Zeta continues to move off to our north and east, and high pressure now moving in, helping it to aid to break up some of that cloud cover and give us some sunshine for this afternoon and especially tomorrow. So here's your featured pup of the day. This is Frank. No problem getting outside. Just have temperatures in the lower 40s still by the day's end. Coming up, though, my full forecast, those snow chances, we're going to break down in more detail how much we can expect coming up in just a bit.
Well, casting your ballot November 3rd goes further than just the White House.
Michigan voters have the chance to vote on 2 proposals. Brody Carter joining us with a breakdown. Good morning to you.
Good morning to both of you. Every Michigander is going to have the chance to vote for or against a constitutional amendment to allow money from oil and gas mining on state-owned lands to continue improving state parks. There's another amendment that has to do with the details on your cell phone device, and now the state's leaving them both up to a vote. As Michiganders get ready to vote for the President of the United States, roughly 20 other sections need your careful consideration as well, including Proposals 1 and 2.
This is to make sure that we have the world-class recreational facilities that our public needs to access public lands.
Here's a look at Proposal 1, which you'll see on November 3rd's ballot, placed there by the legislature through a unanimous vote. Now you will choose how millions of dollars will be dispersed through 2 key funds:
the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund and the State Park Endowment Fund.
For roughly 50 years, these funds have been used to purchase lands for state parks, develop facilities for those parks, and for administration funding in lieu of taxes.
And the words that will be added to the Constitution by this change are redevelopment and renewal, or redevelopment and renewal of existing recreational access facilities.
In addition to purchasing land, the language will now require 20% of those dollars to go towards state park improvements, maintenance and operations, and land conservation.
At the end of the day, these public lands and these facilities, to access them are the things that make Michigan, Michigan and make it such a great place to live.
However, not everyone is voting for Proposal 1.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, and it ain't broke. Everybody agrees that we should be protecting and maintaining our public lands in the state of Michigan. The question is whether or not we need to change the Constitution to change the funding formula, and we think the answer to that is no.
Marvin Roberson, a forest ecologist in the UP, says because those dollars are being taken from non-renewable sources like oil and gas, he believes they should be spent on non-renewable purchases like land acquisition.
We've got state parks and state lands all over the state that we purchased with the proceeds from those oil and gas revenues, and Proposal 1 would change that and move it away from using those monies towards purchasing land and move it towards operations and maintenance, things like paving parking lots, upgrading boat ramps, things like that.
Next, Proposal 2, a little easier to digest.
This proposal will change the Constitution by adding the language requiring a warrant for accessing a person's electronic data and communications.
Which is important to Senator Jim Rumstad, who says Michigan State Police and the Oakland County Sheriff's Departments have military-grade equipment able to take any and all information off a person's cell phone, even track it, without a person knowing it.
And this equipment, what's called Hailstorm Stingray, there's a number of names. A lot of this equipment does not have a fingerprint. In other words, you don't know who's using it.
And after 6 years, Senator Runestad was able to get bipartisan support on this ballot proposal, which he believes would protect citizens from illegal searches and seizures.
If there's a suspecting criminal problems, go get a warrant. I think that the people here in Michigan understand that, and I believe that they will vote for this. It's very, very important to protect our privacy and protect our constitutional rights.
Both constitutional amendments now up to us as Michiganders. Head to michigan.gov/vote so you can get a closer look at what to expect when you're viewing your ballot ahead of November 3rd, as well as fox17online.com. We have a wealth of information for the 2020 elections. I'm Brody Carter. Mike, back to you.
All right, Brody, thanks. And with just 4 days until the election, the spotlight is shining brightly on Michigan once again.
Both state and national campaigns continue making stops in an effort to rally voters ahead of Tuesday. Democratic Senator Gary Peters in Grand Rapids Thursday afternoon campaigning alongside 3rd District congressional candidate Hillary Skolton. Both are in tight races against Republicans John James and Peter Meyer respectively, but they remain confident on what's to come. And then later on last night down the road in Granville, President Trump's son Eric Trump took part in an Evangelicals for Trump's event at Res Life Church in Granville.
And this morning, they just announced a great number. I'm not sure if anybody saw it. 33.1% GDP growth. 33.1% GDP growth, the greatest in the history of our country. That's what my father wants. He wants prosperity for Americans. He wants wages to fly through the roof. He wants jobs to come back to the United States of America.
And when the results from Michigan come in, you are going to jump off out of your seat. You are going to start yelling, and you're going to say, thank God Michigan is a blue state.
Joe Biden is expected to host a rally here in Michigan this weekend. Meantime, Michigan's Unemployment Insurance Agency has launched a new way to get information.
The dashboard includes data on the total amount of unemployment benefits paid for federal and state programs, along with the types and number of claims. It also includes a download feature. The data will be updated every Wednesday. The UIA is encouraging Michiganders to utilize its new phone appointment system that launched last week that's already served nearly 5,000 workers. And we are expecting our first snow this weekend here in West Michigan.
Eric Kostreva joining us in the Weather Center with how this compares to our first round of snow last year. Hey, Eric.
Breathe, Mike. We're going to get through this, I promise. And then, hey, maybe we'll get back towards 70 by next weekend. So we're flipping the script every now and again. Mother Nature doesn't want to seem to keep us on one single track. But yeah, we got some light snow in the forecast on Sunday, likely going to be our first accumulating snowfall for many of us here in West Michigan. It's not going to be anything that you need to break out the shovels or the snow blowers for, just a little dusting of snowfall on some of the grass, but it will be the first time we've experienced this in several months, and that just gets us into, well, how normal is it to see some of this snowfall by the time we head towards Halloween and getting into the month of November. So on your screen is what we are expecting to be out on the ground, the grassy surfaces, the elevated spots. Not expecting this on the driveways or the side streets or even the overpasses. The roads should be just fine on Sunday, but we are going to see that dusting or a coating of snowfall, which actually isn't too far from normal for this time of the year. We usually see our first accumulating snowfall on November 8th in Grand Rapids and November 14th in Muskegon. The earliest we've ever seen accumulating snowfall for both cities is October 7th, with the latest December 5th into Grand Rapids and February 1st into Muskegon. Imagine going most of the winter without seeing any snowfall on the ground until you head towards the first day of February. When we look back at 2019, we saw our first accumulating snowfall on October 30th, so we will be 1 or 2 days past that from what we saw last year, and November 6th for Muskegon. Overall, this winter, we are likely going to see more rain and more snow than we typically would in a normal year, so that above normal chance is going to be with the entire lower peninsula of Michigan, but in a moderate to strong La Nina year, which is what we are starting to build into, some of those colder sea surface temperatures in the Pacific, which is really going to give us some variability in the jet stream, bringing some of those stronger storms down from Canada and also allowing for things to get quite a bit colder as well, which could lead to more snow here for the winter months. We've seen 5 years that are snowier than normal and 6 years which are drier than normal. So for the most part, it looks like we're going to come in right around average for the snowfall, but we did have our third snowiest year ever in one of these moderate to at least strong La Nina years. So that's still a possibility out there. And also we do have an equal chance of seeing warmer or colder than normal temperatures, but so far in those moderate to strong La Nina years, we've seen 7 years that are colder than normal and 4 years that are warmer than normal. But it's just 1 day that we get to see the snowfall this weekend. And again, we're trending back into the 60s by the end of the week. So we'll get through this. It's going to be a long winter, but at least we'll get through this weekend without any of the other